Welcome to this week's version of Nickels and Dimes, our weekly video series. Well, I know sometimes people who are navigating the financial markets themselves and handling their financial situation themselves, sometimes wonder, can I continue to do this? Or maybe they're not really willing, or maybe they've managed their finances for years and then get to the point where they don't want to do it anymore. So we're going to talk a little bit about the value of an advisor and why you may or may not want one. So that's the topic today. Do I really need an advisor? So let's jump in. In my opinion, these are situations where many times you don't really need an advisor. Maybe you have enough time during the day to study the financial markets, to understand what's going on in the economic environment, to understand the changes, for example, in tax laws. So you simply have to have enough time to be able to do these types of things. And of course, the willingness. Some people actually have the time, but are simply not willing to spend the time. They want to do other things with their time. Maybe play golf, maybe, hang out with family. Other people have work commitments, of course. But also, if you don't need an advisor, in my opinion, if you have enough discipline to stay abreast to what's going on in the financial markets. And of course, the expertise. And I say that because maybe you're not an expert, but you have enough experience with, for example, investments, changes in tax laws, insurance planning and estate planning, just to name a few areas of financial planning. Well, Vanguard did a study recently that found that on average, a self-managed $500,000 portfolio can grow to a little over $1.6 million in a 25-year period by following the typical savings and investment rules. However, with an advisor, that same $500,000 has the potential to grow, significantly more. And in this case study, they said that had the potential to grow over 3.4 million. But the reality is, you may or may not know, but a small percentage of Americans actually use financial advisors. And a study by Statista found that in 2001, a little less than 4 in 10 Americans, or around 38%, worked with a financial advisor. And that was after a share of Americans who approached their financial advisor increased significantly compared to the previous years. There's many advantages of working an advisor, and some of them, of course, include certain recommendations on investments in times of uncertainty like we have now. A lot of people don't know what to do, so maybe it makes sense just to get a second opinion, with what you're doing. Am I in the right investments, or am I on the wrong investments? Or come up with an investment strategy based on those let's call it debt commitments. But also, as I mentioned earlier, how to navigate the ups and downs of the economic environment. And in my opinion, one of the most valuable assets of working with an advisor is simply helping avoid emotional decisions. For example, like this is a headline from the New York Times back in 1987 when we had Black Monday, where stocks plunged. It was challenging for most. So maybe you didn't make the best decision when that happened. Maybe you got out of the market. Obviously, in hindsight, that would have been a mistake because obviously the markets really progressed. But part of the value of having an advisor is helping people avoid emotional decisions. So fast forward, you're on, watching CNBC, and then you see the market, the Dow here in this example, take a big hit down over 1,000 points, around 3.5%, and you may not make decision that is wise for you in this situation. Again, a lot of times people don't know what to do in times of uncertainty. So, in our opinion, just having a sounding board, to help think through certain decisions may make sense for you. And again, in my opinion, that's part of the benefit of having an advisor, because the advisor's job really is to be neutral, of course, to understand what you're trying to accomplish, what your goals are, and help put together an action plan with clarity that would obviously hopefully create a more ideal financial situation for you. So this is and I've shown this before. This is a slide that really talks about the emotions when we have bull market runs, and then when we have bear market, let's call it, situations like we're now. Look, last year, really, frankly, since March of 2020, and we had that quick rally off the March 2020 lows, and we saw a big run up, in many cases, 50, 60, or even over 90% on certain assets or investments. And then obviously the market topped out last fall and early into this year. And then we are in probably the anxiety phase on some things where you're thinking, okay, the S&P is down over 20%, or the Nasdaq's down over 30, long bonds down over 30, having some anxiety. Well, the reality is that, what do? Do you hang on to your investments? Or even if things get worse, you may be in the denial phases where you believe, well, look, this is a great company, it's going to come back. And as you know, there are certain companies that actually never recover, never come back. And then if things get worse, you're in the panic mode here as everyone's selling, I just want to get out. If that's the situation you're in, where you capitulate and sell, it's probably the worst thing you could do. So in my opinion, again, having a sounding board, having an advisor, having someone you can talk to, to get clarity and hopefully give you some confidence, particularly in a situation where we're at now, a very challenging economic environment. Whether we're in a formal recession or not, I mean, we've had 2 quarters of negative GDP growth in the old days, at least, that was a recession, but the government saying, no, it's not. Look, things are slowing. That. We still have inflation issues that'll probably stay around for a while. We have increasing interest rates heading into a recession. If we're not there yet, it's unusual, a slowing growth marketplace. So things could get worse. So if it makes sense, reach out to your own advisor. Maybe you want a second opinion with us or another advisor. To that end, if you would like a second opinion on your portfolio or financial situation, you can go on our website, click on the Contact Us tab in the upper right-hand column or corner there. You could reach out to us, just fill out that information, and one of our advisors will reach out to you and answer your questions and hopefully provide some clarity for you. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.